Meeting for the Village of Tinley Park Plan Commission to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, if we can get the roll call taken.
Commissioner Gaskell?
Present.
Commissioner Gatto? Here. Commissioner Hamilton? Commissioner Manny? Commissioner Merrick?
Here.
Commissioner Shaw?
Present.
Commissioner Tibbetts? Commissioner Truxell?
Here.
Chairman Gray?
Here. Okay, a quorum is present. We'll move on to communications. Staff, are there any communications at this time?
There are no communications.
Okay, we'll move on to approval of the meeting minutes. May I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes of the January 5th, 2023 regularly scheduled Plan Commission meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Gatto, seconded by Commissioner Shaw. All those in favor of approving the January 5th, 2023 meeting minutes for the Plan Commission, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. The motion is carried. We'll move on to item 1. Item 1 is a public hearing to consider recommending that the village board grant the petitioner, Aaron Villegas of Arcos Environmental Services Incorporated, a special use permit to operate a contractor's office and shop at 18500 Spring Creek Drive in the ORI-PD Office and Restricted Industrial North Creek Business Center PUD. May I have a motion to open the public hearing?
Motion. Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Gaskell, seconded by Commissioner Truxell. All those in favor of opening the public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the motion is carried. The public hearing is open. I have received certification that of the public hearing notice being published in a local newspaper, so anyone wishing to speak on this matter will be sworn in before they speak, but after the staff's presentation. So staff, at this time, if you could please proceed with your presentation.
Okay, this is a summary of the staff report. The existing site is a developed property in the North Creek Business Center, PUD. It's located southwest of 183rd and Harlem. It's surrounded by office, light industrial, hotels with commercial development around 183rd Street and Harlem Avenue. The site's history, the subject property is developed and contains a 12,000 square foot building. The petitioner, Arcos, intends to acquire the subject property for owner occupancy. They'll be moving from 7413 DeVan Drive, and the proposed use is a contractor's office and shops. The zoning and nearby land uses, the property is zoned ORI-PD in the North Creek Business Center, PUD. The PUD was adopted in 1991. All surrounding properties are within the same zoning and the same PUD. To the north, there's a retention pond. To the east, there's hotels. To the south, there's an insurance agency office. And to the west, there's a labor union office. The PUD maintains special use status for contractor's office and shops. The proposed use, a special use permit is required to operate contractors' offices and shops within the North Creek Business Center PUD and the underlying ORI zoning district. No definition is provided for contractors' offices and shops, and there's no specific performance standards for this use in the zoning ordinance. Outdoor storage and commercial vehicle parking are potential concerns for the contractors' offices and shops use. The proposed use, Arcos has been in Tinley Park since 2009 and currently has 23 employees. Arcos provides energy audits, weatherization, insulation, HVAC installation, and maintenance services. The company is licensed in Tinley Park, several suburban municipalities, and the city of Chicago. The proposed use, Arcos conducts all of their businesses at customers' homes, so they have supervisors that come to the site every day, and then the rest of the employees meet the supervisors at clients' homes. Petitioner will not store any materials or commercial vehicles outdoors except during loading and unloading. And on this slide, there's a diagram indicating the interior parking area in the building. The petitioner is not proposing any changes to the site plan. Parking, Table 8A10 does not provide specific parking ratio for contractors' offices and shops. The petitioner states that 7 employees and 4 field employees will park on the site each day. for a total of 11. There are 16 existing parking spaces. Petitioner's commercial vehicles will be stored indoors when not in use, except during loading and unloading. And it would be very uncommon for a customer to meet anyone at the business. All the business is conducted at home, at their home. So the standards for the special use approval,
You'd say that concludes.
that concludes the staff report.
Okay, thank you, Michael. Does the petitioner have anything to add, if you don't mind coming up? And if you can state your name?
Yes, my name is Alex Genova with Transwestern Commercial Services. I'm a commercial real estate broker, and I represent the applicant, Aaron.
My name is Aaron Villegas, owner of Arcos Environmental Services since 2002.
Okay. Yep. So you wrote your name?
I'm going to do it right now.
Okay. And when you're done, I'm going to swear you in. Yeah, okay. Okay, Aaron and Alex, if you could raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the evidence you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Okay, well then proceed with your
Okay,
presentation.
thank you. So I think I'll begin. Aaron and I have been looking for a building for him to relocate his business for about 4 years now. He's been leasing in a building over on Duvon Drive, as the staff has indicated. It's been difficult to find the right building, but this building did open up, and it's perfect for his use. Upon first introducing Aaron to the site, I did inform him of the ORI zoning and the fact that a special use was most likely required for his use as a contractor shop. He most closely, his business most closely resembles that definition. So we contacted, of course, Tinley Park zoning, and I spoke with Lori first, and we wanted to go through the appropriate process and channels to do this right. We started with the change of use application, and we answered several questions from the zoning administrator, including all the materials that would be stored in the building, information about the business operations, the employees, the parking, Aaron's business hours and such. And I think that the zoning administrator and the initial change of use application conclusion was that it was appropriate to proceed towards a special use application. So that brings us here today. As the staff indicated, Aaron's been in business for over 20 years. He's licensed and insured. His primary customers are residential, but he does work with HUD, state, county, and municipalities with incentive programs for energy savings. He helps his customers save money on energy bills, and it's good. His business is good for the environment. Conducting weatherization, insulation. He does do some HVAC work with air conditioning and furnaces, and limited remodel work with windows and doors. He's been in Tinley Park for 13 years now. He's looking to relocate and own this building and be a property taxpayer. I would describe his use in my 20 years as commercial real estate as a light industrial user. He will not have any on-site manufacturing or fabrication. His operation does not have any noise problems. It's basically an office and warehouse facility where there's There's receiving of Class A building materials, none of which are flagged as serious combustible materials or any kind of problem with a fire hazard. There's no dangerous chemicals or hazardous materials. He does no testing on site. And all of his field work is done in the field at the clients' homes. His business hours are 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. And all of his service vehicle trucks will be parked inside at night, and there will be no outdoor parking after hours or not during business hours. He has no plans for outside storage. It's a very clean, non-disruptive operation, and they'll come and go with their routine business, and it'll be compatible with other users and adjacent neighbors in the neighborhood. The building is sprinklered and is sufficient, as verified by the zoning administrator, to be sufficient for the materials that he stores. The staff did a good job describing how many employees will be coming and going. The 4 supervisors are the field employees that actually come and get the trucks and return them each day. Other than that, those 4 employees will park their cars during the day, and the other 7 office employees will park during the day, but then everyone will leave at night. All the trucks will be inside. Rarely does a customer visit except for payment. So that's what brings us here today, seeking approval. We are currently almost in contract with the seller of the property to purchase the property, contingent on the approval of this special use permit that will run with his ownership and for his use and for his business use. With that said, I can answer questions, but I'm sure Aaron would like to speak as well.
Okay, Aaron, do you wish to
Yeah,
speak?
just wanted to say, like Alex said, I've been in Tinley Park since 2009. Never had any issues except for my catalytic converters being stolen, but that's why we park all our trucks inside. So you wouldn't have any issues with that, with any of my trucks being outside. Other than that, just general construction, nothing crazy, nothing out of the ordinary.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. I think I was familiar with I think it was a burglarization along
Yeah.
Duvan Drive.
Yeah.
We're off there, we were hit too. With that said, we're going to go to our commissioners for any comments or discussion, starting with Commissioner Shaw.
I just want to say up front, this is a fantastic use for this. I appreciate that you've been in Tinley as long as you have, and that you're choosing to stay in Tinley. So I think
you.
that's fantastic. And you're going to fit all 7 trucks inside? I think that's.
Yeah, there's
big,
plenty
too.
of room for that, yes.
So I don't actually have any questions for the petitioner. I think this all looks good. I did have a question for staff, but I can ask that separately, not inside. It's not necessary.
Okay, Commissioner Gatto, any
I
comments?
second what he said. I think it's a great use for this location. I just want to ask, you're going to have security systems and stuff on the outside of the building? Is that already
Cameras,
there?
correct,
Yeah, cameras.
which I currently have at the Duvan location, which I'll be transferring.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep, that was my only question.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Gaskell,
I have nothing to say.
Commissioner Merrick,
No, I appreciate the detailed overview. That was helpful. Thanks.
Commissioner Truxell.
Yeah, same here. It was well presented. Staff did a good job outlining everything, and it is a good use for that building, so glad to see a new tenant that's moving in and not leaving the village, as Commissioner Shaw stated, so I'm good with it.
Okay, excellent. My own comments, I just basically echo what the commissioners have said. It looks good. I like the fact there's no hazardous waste being stored or anything like that, so I don't think there's any issues, and parking is more than sufficient for your use. Yeah, it is a good use of that site, so. With that said, there's nobody here from the public wishing to comment, because there's nobody here from the public. But if there's no other further questions, we will close the public hearing.
Move to close the public hearing?
Okay.
Second.
Okay, so motion made by Commissioner Shaw, seconded by Commissioner Gaskell. All those in favor of closing the public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the motion is carried. You guys can take a seat, and staff, at this time, if you can present the standards.
So an overview of the standards for special use approval. The proposed use will not negatively impact neighbors or the village as the site is already developed. Arcos will reactivate a currently vacant site. All applicable code requirements will be met.
Okay. So at this time, well, actually, if Commissioner Shaw, do you have,
I just had a really quick question. Because this special use permit is not something that is cleanly defined in there, do you happen to know offhand about how many special use permits there are in that development, in that PUD? No? Okay. Because it seems like a really good use for it, and one of these things where almost like it should just be there, right? So it's kind of like when we do fences and things like that, if we keep getting the same ones before us over and over, it's an opportunity to just change the code and make it good, right? So,
Well, with contractors' offices and shops, there's the potential for that use to be more intense, and so with
exactly,
this,
yeah.
you know, it's obviously on the less intense side of it, so.
Yep, sounds good.
okay, good observation. With that said, can I have a motion for the special use permit?
I make a motion to recommend that the village board grant the petitioner Aaron Villegas of Arcos Environmental Services Incorporated a special use permit to operate grant contractor's office and shop at 18500 Spring Creek Drive in the ORI PD Office of Restricted Industrial North Park or North Creek Business Center, PUD, according to the submitted plans and adopt the findings of fact as listed in the January 19th, 2023 staff report.
So, second.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Gaskell, seconded by Commissioner Gatto. Lori, could I have a roll call?
Commissioner Gaskell,
Yes.
Commissioner Gatto,
Yes.
Commissioner Merrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Shaw,
Yes.
Commissioner Truxell,
Yes.
Chairman Gray.
Yes. Okay. The motion is carried. So, Mr. Villegas, this will go to the village board on February 7th, 2023, so you can get with staff for more information, but I recommend you being in attendance, you and Alex. Good luck to you, gentlemen, and have a good night.
Thank you.
Going for the record.
We'll move on to item number 2, which is a public hearing to consider recommending that the village board grant the petitioner Saul Zenkavicius of 7413 Duvan LLC a variation from the zoning ordinance to permit masonry below the required 75% of the two-face brick facades at 7405 to 7417 Duvan Drive in the MU1 Mixed-Use Duvan Drive Overlay Zoning District. Site plan and architectural approval is also being requested for all facades of the building. We received notice from the petitioner to move the public hearing back to February 2nd, 2023. And so can I get a motion to continue the public hearing at this time?
Make a motion.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Second? Oh, sorry.
Motion made to continue the public hearing for this item to February 2nd, 2023, made by Commissioner Gaskell, seconded by Commissioner Gatto. All those in favor of opening, or all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the motion is carried. This item is moved to the February 2nd, 2023 Plan Commission meeting. With that said, we'll go on to the next items, which are the good of the order. Staff, do you have any good of the order?
Yes, and then just the first thing I wanted to mention for item number 2, we just wanted to also communicate that we are working with the applicant, so this was for a masonry variation. There's paint that was recently applied to the building, and we're working with the applicant on the options that they have been seeking out. So they are looking at trying to get a code-compliant option. So there's a possibility, hopefully, that we wouldn't need a variation going forward. So we'll know shortly as we confirm a few details with the applicant. If that's the case, then we would just simply pull that from the docket for the next meeting. So that said, for other good of the order, first I want to make an announcement if the commission hasn't heard yet. Dan Ritter on last Tuesday was recently appointed as the Community Development Director. So he's no longer interim, but now he has been promoted, appointed as that director position fully going forward. Now that means that he was also has been acting as planning manager as well. So that is the only remaining planning department vacancy at this point. So the village will be posting soon, I think, he said like within the next week or two.
Okay.
For that position. And then as far as projects, so Ascent Cannabis out on Harlem, there's been more progress on it, so I'm sure you all noticed that it was recently stained, and now there's been progress on the inside, as well as some of the framing of the outside facade work. So that's definitely great progress. You know, they've been tearing out the windows, and they still plan to open later this year. And secondly, D.R. Horton Oak Ridge subdivision, they are in the permit process right now for their townhomes. So if the permit approvals go as we hope, then they would be working on doing the first 2 buildings. Hopefully that permits could be issued within, very shortly. And then start work this spring, and then shortly thereafter that, later this year, they'd be starting on the single-family homes part of that. So it's a major project, and we're looking forward to seeing that move along. And then other projects, just quickly mention Smoothie King. They are working with the village building department on scheduling final inspections soon. So that project is coming to a close and hopefully opening shortly. And then lastly, I wanted to mention Pete's Fresh Market. Their core and shell permit was issued yesterday. This is for the grocery and retail. The timeline for them to go vertical would be later this spring. And then also related to Pete's, recently had the substantial deviation request, so that went to village board back on Tuesday. That was for the drive aisle realignment and the occupancy deadline extension, so that was approved at board.
Great.
Excellent.
Well, wasn't the Odyssey Club remanded back to the Plan Commission as well? I thought that was in the board meeting.
I didn't catch all of that.
Sorry.
Yeah, I did. Dan, I don't typically watch the whole board meeting, but I hadn't heard anything from Dan mention, no. So there's a possibility that may happen. Of course, there have been workings on getting the HOA.
Okay, yeah, I knew there was some
finalized.
issues.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean. to
Yeah, sorry, no,
stop.
it's okay. Yeah. But if they do come back, hopefully we'll have them all prepared to move forward again.
Okay, we'll move on to receive comments from the public. Seeing no public here, we'll move on to adjourn the meeting. May I have a motion to close the Plan Commission meeting?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Merrick, seconded by Commissioner Truxell. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion is carried. This meeting is adjourned at 7:25, if my eyes do me justice. Okay, have a good night, everybody.